And welcome to Wednesday's webinar. So today we'll be looking at Notebook Gallery. Notebook Gallery contains over 6,500 items, and the really nice thing is they're all within Notebook. Even if you download a free trial of Notebook, you get the whole gallery. So it's a very, very good way to access content for your notebooks. So today, and by the way, thank you for joining us. I know end of the day, it's can be a bit hard. I promise you I will be finished at 4:30 at the very latest. So today we've got myself, Kevin Daly. I'm Smarts Educator, and the moderator today is Crystal Ryan. And during the webinar, if you have any questions, you've got a little question pod on the right-hand side of your screen. Just write them in there, and Crystal and I will handle those at the end. So Notebook itself is part of Smart Learning Suite, and then within Notebook we have Gallery. So Learning Suite's made up of Lab, Response and AMP. So the last couple of webinars we've looked at Response 2 and we've looked at Lab. Today we'll dig a little bit deeper into Notebook, and particularly the Gallery aspects of Notebook. So Gallery, it's quite easy to use. There's a little tab on the left, and I'll just show you live. I'll click over there. So it's this little, looks like a picture icon. When you click on it, it opens up your gallery. As I say, there's 6,500 items in the gallery. So you can see I've got a little icon here that's showing me that the gallery is actually loading. So the first time you use it, it might just take a minute just to load up, just because there is so much content. You can, with the gallery, there's several ways of searching, and there's several ways of looking at it. So I'll just give you a couple of examples. One, you can sort of move things around and stretch them out depending on your preference. So if you just get on the grey parts of the gallery, you can open things up and close them down a little bit. You can see that there's lots of folders here, and we'll talk a little bit more about the folders in detail as I go through the webinar. And we can see that we've got searches up here. So, pardon me. So it's called the Gallery tab, and you can actually add content to the gallery yourself, and that's not a bad way to operate, and we'll talk a bit more about that as we go through. So today we'll talk about accessing and searching the gallery, types of content, using the My Content folder, creating folders, some quick links that are within the gallery, sharing, and we'll also point you to some resources to help you once you've gone through the webinar. So basically I'll do a search for you live, so and you will get a copy of this webinar as well, but just to show you how you can search. So I'm just going to go back to my Gallery tab. Now up the top here it says type your search term, so I'm just going to ask for triangles. And I hit the search button. Oops, and my spelling, I do apologise. Of course, if you don't spell it correctly, nothing's going to happen for you. So we'll try again, see if I get a better result this time. Although you wouldn't notice the prompt there, it did say, do you want to go somewhere else to look for this, which is quite useful. So here I see where there are triangles. So there's pictures, there's interactives, there's notebook files and pages, and there's background themes. So I'll just open one of these up so you see it. So they're just little thumbnails. If I click on them, it opens them up. It's telling me there's 15 resources to do with triangles. And if I scroll through, I see that they're embedded in certain folders. I'll just close that one up. There's 34 pictures of triangles. How would I use these? So I'll just add a page to my notebook, and anything that I see that I would like a closer look at or perhaps use, I just click on it and drag it to my notebook, and it becomes part of my notebook. So it's really just search, drag and drop. So there's my pictures. There are throughout the gallery interactives and multimedia, so a lot of sound-based things. So I think we have because triangle is used as an instrument in an orchestra, we actually have a triangle that type of triangle, and you can see that there's a sound associated with that one, and that's why it's attached to the interactive and multimedia section. Notebook files and pages, just so you know, if you see an icon, and hopefully you can see it reasonably clearly, if it's got a little turned down page, it means it's actually a page for a notebook, or it can be a whole notebook. So if I drag one of these out, it's going to be a whole page or a whole notebook. The background themes, there's lots of background themes and they're quite easy to adjust, but at the moment you can see I'm working on a white background, but I can actually create a background for my notebooks, and there's lots and lots of those within our notebooks for us to work with. So I'll just go back to my actual notebook for you. So lots of different types of content, multimedia, pictures, notebook files and themes. The place that I first started with the gallery was I actually looked in the gallery essentials. So if you click on the little plus sign, you'll see you've got arts, English, geography, history. So basically by subject. If I click on mathematics, within mathematics, I'm going to see more folders available to me. So here is number, pattern, relationship, and even within some of those, there's even more folders available for you. If you want to look to see what's in there, again, your little thumbnails down the bottom take you through what's available to you within that folder. So just because we're seeing, and I'll just make the point here for you, just because I'm seeing one folder called Gallery Essentials, within that one folder can be multiple folders and then even more folders again. So there's a lot of content in there for you, and the Gallery Essentials is a good one to get used to the gallery content, to particularly if you're teaching a particular subject area. So just moving along, you can create your own folders as well. So if I just go back, and I'm sorry, I'm just swapping between my notebook and the My Content tab all the time, just so you see this. So there's a couple of ways of making folders and doing things with your content. So you have a My Content folder, and I'm just opening mine up, and you can see I've got a folder for poetry, a folder for some of my shouted outs, a folder for information on the solar system. That's my contents. That's stuff that I wanted to use that I've put there. So let's assume that the page on the right was something that I might want to use. If I go into my little thumbnail view, you'll see I can add the page to the gallery, and once I've added it to the gallery, I can then drop it into my content. And there's also another way of doing this. If you click on the little spanner next to the search engine, you'll see you've got a few options. Add current page to my content. So that's probably a quick, short way to do that. If I wanted to add the whole notebook to my content, if it was something I want to reuse, you can see the second option is to add this file. I can actually go outside of Notebook and add files from Word, PowerPoint, whatever, all into my content folder. And I can connect to a team folder. And I'll talk a little bit more when I come to sharing about what the team folder might be. So basically, lots of content in here. How do I create a folder? If I right mouse click, you can see it says new folder. I'm on my content. When I click new folder, I just have to give it a name. So I think I've got solar system. I'll just use planets. And now I have a place to put all my planets information in my content folder so that I know where it is and it's easy to use, rather than having to hunt through 6,000 pieces of information here. So things that you'll likely use time and time again, put them in the My Content folder. In the My Content folder, do a right click to get the folder structure the way you would like it to be. Any of the other folders, you can right click and add folders to as well. And you can also export whole collections out. So that's another way of sharing. And when we get to sharing, we'll talk about that a little bit more. Whenever you click on a folder, you do get the thumbnails that show you what's in that folder. So visually you can actually see it. Okay, just moving along. The other thing that you'll see within the gallery is it's got a few quick links. So if I just closing that up, you can see it will take me straight out to Smart Exchange. If you've got an AMP trial or you're using AMP, from within my content you can go straight out to AMP. We do a little bit of work with 3D objects, and you can actually bring in 3D objects from the Trimble 3D warehouse into Smart Notebook, and you can bring them straight into your gallery essentials or my content. And you can actually go out to Smart Lab activities as well if you're looking for lab activities. So several ways, those quick links, what they're going to do basically is it's just a shortcut. So if I want to go out to the 3D warehouse or I want to go out looking for lab stuff, they're quick ways for me to get out from within Notebook to the internet to do those things. So just ease of use basically. Okay. So as teachers, we're often very generous with what we do, and we like to share content or often entire notebooks. And there are a couple of ways we can do this. So in the newer version of Smart Notebook, so I'm using 17.1, if I go to File and I go to Share, firstly my notebook will save, and then I'm actually offered a way of sharing this using links. So if you've used Dropbox or a cloud-based service like that, quite often you use those because the files are too big. Similarly, notebook files are quite big, so they're hard to email and move around, but we can share them to a group of teachers or to a team just by using a link like we would in Dropbox. The other way is to actually share a folder from within the gallery, and I just want to take you through this. So if I click, you'll see it says connect to my team content. So to create a team content folder that all your staff can see, you do need to be an administrator for Notebook. So probably if you want to go down that path, perhaps ask your tech to give you a little bit of a hand with it. But let's say I was in the grade 3-4 team, it's nice if at the click of a button I can go to where all our content is that we're sharing across the year for our notebook files, but it's just a tiny bit of setup that you might want to get your tech involved with. There are help files about that on the Smart website, and I'll show you some of that help after. So, okay, the other place to actually get content is if you go to Smart Exchange. So I'll just open up Exchange for you. And I often say if you're using any of the Smart products, Smart Exchange is probably your best friend. So you'll see within here, so I'm at, so sorry, I went a little bit quick there for you. I can search by subject, I can search by grade, or I can search by file type. You can see that one of my options here is gallery collections. And if I click on it, there's collections of images that some are professionally built that I can actually bring into my gallery to use. So in terms of, don't think about, oh yes, I've got 6,545 bits of content here. Think about it as a repository where you can put more content, and think about it as a repository that's really easily searchable, and also that you can customize to suit your purposes by using my content, in my content folder. So if you still can't find what you want, out to Exchange and bring things in from Exchange. You can bring in whole notebooks and then do things like add those notebooks to your content so they'll become part of what you want to do. So, okay, just moving along a little bit. So great resource. You can do a whole lot with it. The searches are fantastic, really quick. The thumbnails are very helpful. You can download more videos, gallery collections, and multimedia content from Smart Exchange. Good place to go and have a look. to bring into your notebooks. Smart Exchange, like your My Content folder has 6,500 items, but Smart Exchange has over 100,000 items for you. So there's other places where you can get help. So we have our Smart YouTube channel called Ed to Ed. Very, very useful on any of the smart products. So recently we did a webinar on Response 2. We've done one on Lesson Activity Builder. There's lots of videos on those. There's also short videos on how to use Smart Gallery and give you ideas about how you might use that. Also within Smart, we do offer online training. So if I just click on our training site and click on education, you can see that there's lots of public courses for you. Embedded in some of that is information around Smart Gallery as well. And then we also have this webinar will be available at our Smart ANZ website and will probably be emailed to you as well if you've participated today. If you have any questions or queries about the webinar, I know today was a tiny short one, you're always welcome to email me direct, Kevin Daly, no E, at smarttech.com, and there's no AU. So I'll just check in with Crystal if there's any questions in the question pod. Okay, Crystal tells me there is one question. Just can you put a folder on a file server and just put your notebooks in there to share the same way you would with Word or PowerPoint files? That's absolutely fine. No reason, nothing to stop you doing that. The only thing is if you use this connect to team content folder concept, it means you can go straight to that folder from within your notebook. So otherwise you're stepping out to go to your file server. Again, I'll just stress that that does need a little bit of help from the tech to set it up. So hopefully you found today's webinar useful. Best thing to do, I think, is to go and have a little play with the folders, set up some My Content files, grab some stuff down from Smart Exchange, and just really get your My Content reflecting the sort of content you want to use for your teaching. Thanks very much for your participation today, and we'll end the webinar there.